What's happening, everyone? Zach Gent here, real estate sales representative with Remax Real Estate Center out of Cambridge, Ontario. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about strategies or tips to buy in a seller's market. As always, this video is brought to you by my knowledge, skills, and understanding as of the day the video was made. Now, when I talk about these tips, or when we go through this video, I mean, understand that they're just tips, right? So it's not gonna make you an expert. It's not gonna be able to win every single bid you put in, but hopefully it'll put you in a better position to understand what the market's doing, how you can still have some success, and parlay that into maybe an easier buying process. So now the first thing would be, what are you talking about? What's a seller's market? Well, a seller's market is where there are more buyers than there are homes for sale. Okay, it's the simple supply and demand. That's simple as it is. You have, let's say 20 buyers and you have one home. Well, obviously that one home, the price is going to go up because all 20 buyers are going to want to buy that, and the price can get inflated. So you have bids that are happening, or you have homes that are coming for sale where you have 10, 15, 20 people putting in an offer to buy that home, and that's where the price goes up, and that's why it's a seller's market. So let's get into it. Tip number one is have a good realtor in your corner. Do you think I was going to say anything else? You really need to have a realtor that understands what they're doing, understands the market, understands strategies to work for you. I know that it's so tempting to go out and work by yourself or just deal with the listing agent, but having someone who can keep you on track, who knows what you're looking for, who is able to look at a listing and say, you know what, we're not even going to bother with that one because it's going to go for this. And on the other side of that, I mean, I know this is a video for buyers, but sellers as well. This is seller's market. You want to get as much money as you can, and selling a home yourself or going with an agency that basically just puts it on MLS for you and doesn't really care how you make out because they get their flat fee, really isn't going to get you the most amount of money. I know the argument is you save the commission. Well, saving $20,000 in commission and then losing $50,000 in a sale, that's a $30,000 difference. So, where is your money really going? All right, tip number two would be know your enemy. Not to say that sellers are your mortal enemy, which is my son's favorite expression, but they have the opposite interest that you do, right? They're trying to get the most amount of money for their home, and you're trying to spend the least amount of money for their home. So kind of knowing what they're doing on the other side. So it's a selling strategy that other agents use where, let's say for example, a home should be valued at $550. Well, in this market, they're actually listing it, maybe $499. And then the idea being that they're trying to attract people whose budgets are low 500. As well, they can still attract people whose budget is 550 and the people whose budgets are maybe closer to 6. You have all those people coming together to try and bid for a home, and that's where the price happens. So when you see a home that's been sold for, $100,000 over asking, yes, I mean, technically it did, but what should it have been listed for? It's still going over what it should have gone for, don't get me wrong, but maybe it actually was only 50,000 more than it should have gone for, 30,000 more than what it should have gone for. But that's a strategy. So again, falling back on tip number one, having a good real estate agent with you will help you eliminate which ones are, this is just listed wrong. Let's not even waste our time going for this. Tip number three would be go in with as many conditions removed, if not all conditions removed. So I talked in the last video with Jenny about getting a pre-approval before you even start looking at homes, right? If you have that pre-approval in your hand, you know that you do not need a financing condition. I understand sometimes there's some hesitancy and sometimes there's some, that you want the safety net of it, and that's fine. And if you're not comfortable with removing a condition of any kind, a financing condition, then, you want to keep that in there. But it is going to lower your chances of actually winning that bid. Some other common conditions would be insurance, making sure you can get insurance for the home that you're buying. Inspection is also a big one as well. But again, the more conditions you add, the less chance you're going to win that bid. Sellers in this market are probably going to take an offer that's 10,000, maybe even 20,000 less than your offer with no conditions as opposed to yours with conditions. And why is that? Because the second they sign it, it's done. It's a done deal. It's firm. Just waiting for the check to be written. So there's no, is this going to close? Do I have to go through all the showings and stuff again? It's done. So do your best to remove all the conditions that you can and hopefully go in with none at all. Number four would be stay on budget and stay on track. It is so tempting to just chase the market, right? You go look at a few homes, maybe even put in a couple offers on a few homes, and you just aren't getting there and you're like, wow, maybe I need to go for this type of home. Maybe I need to settle for this. Maybe I need to settle for that. And that might be the decision you come to, but on the buying side, it is a little frustrating and you are going to maybe spend a little bit more time than you would on a balanced market, and obviously a buyer's market is in your favor. So, stay on track, stay in budget. You have your budget set. Your realtor will hopefully keep you on track and say, listen, this is what you want. Let's not lose our heads, and don't settle for something unless you know what you're sitting there going, okay, I can afford that for sure, or I'm comfortable living in that home. Keep in mind that if you don't need to move, then you don't have to move. If this is your first home, treat it as such. It's your first home, knowing that eventually in 5 or 10 years or whatever, you're going to upgrade. So can you see yourself living here for 5 or 10 years? Is that okay? Then go ahead. If you're like, you know what, I really hate this place, but I just want to get in the market, maybe that's not the best attitude to have. Maybe the idea would be to maybe wait and tackle it when the market changes a little bit. And number 5 is expand your search. So I've talked about in tons of my videos, you have 3 things. You have style of home, budget, and location. You can only pick 2 of them. In this type of market, it might be where you take that location piece and expand it a little bit, right? So I live in Kitchener, Waterloo, Kitchener, Cambridge is all exploding, even the kind of surrounding little towns. But is it maybe, can I drive a half an hour outside? Can I go to kind of a Woodstock or somewhere else that's in the area? And if that's okay with you, that might be the strategy that's going to get you to win a bid, because you'd be surprised that just driving, a half an hour can expand your money, and it's a $50,000 less to get this type of home than it would be if you were still in the city. So keep that in mind, is that there's other options to have if you're comfortable with it. At the end of the day, you have to be okay living in that city, you have to be okay living in that home, and you have to be okay with the money that you're going to spend to do that. So, think about these sort of things, and that might be a step down the road once you've kind of tried to put in a couple bids in your perfect city at your perfect location first. And tip number 6, the final one I have for you is don't rush. Markets are cyclical. They are going to come back around. Yes, it's a seller's market right now. How long that'll be for, nobody knows. Will it eventually even out? Probably. Will it ever go back to a buyer's market? Probably not, but is it going to calm down a little bit? Yes. So if you can afford to wait, if you don't have to move, then the strategy would be to wait a little bit. Maybe still poke around, see some homes, put in a bid if you really want to, but say to yourself, do I need to do this second? Don't get frustrated. Stay on track. Let your realtor, show you the best ones to bid for, the best ones to go after. And, it's a tough market as a buyer, especially a first-time home buyer, to get into a seller's market. But, stay on track, stay with it. Takes a little bit of toughness, but eventually you'll get there. And then it'll all pay off in the end. So that's everything I have for you today. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, you can contact me with my cell phone or my email, which is at the end of every video. And please consider going over to zachgent.com. You can sign up for a first-time home buyer guide. You can also sign up for a free home evaluation where I can come by and give you an evaluation of your home, which has been changing monthly, if not weekly, in this market. So it's good to stay on top of it if you're thinking about selling or buying. But other than that, everyone, please take care of yourselves, all right?